So this is fairly surprising. It looks like MSNBC is praising, or a host on MSNBC, I should say, a couple of them, are praising Bernie Sanders yet again. Now, funny enough, this is Al Sharpton, who I did a video on Al Sharpton's interview with Killer Mike, who also supports Bernard Sanders, of course. And here, Al Sharpton is actually going to explain why Bernie Sanders is a great candidate. And before I jump into that, this is them reporting on the Politico story, which is that, Bernie Sanders can win. Essentially, the Democratic insiders are saying this, but let's hear this out.
As you look at the candidates, and I've been to every debate, Bernie Sanders is the one candidate on the stage more than anyone else that people are supporting him because they believe in what he believes in. Yeah. He's not running as a politician. He's running as one leading a movement, and he says that. And I think that that is why he will remain in the top three, and that is why he's winning, because people are voting for what they believe in. Later this morning, 11 o'clock, I have Reverend Jesse Jackson coming up to our headquarters. He's launching a new book, Keeping Hope Alive. We supported Reverend Jackson, Bernie Sanders did in the 80s, because we believed in what he was saying. So when people come with a scorecard of can this work or can this pass or not, it's no, should it pass? And that's what the people that are supporting Bernie are saying. We don't know if he'll get this through, but we know we want it through. And that's a little different than the people that are trying to measure everything by, can I get past this? You have one that James McGregor Burns wrote a book, Leadership. You have transactional leaders. You have transformative leaders. Bernie has ran a transformative campaign.
It's absolutely accurate. Completely accurate take here from Al Sharpton, an explanation. I'm sure that Killer Mike has probably had an influence on Al Sharpton, which is another reason why Killer Mike is so awesome, of course. But he's totally right that Bernie has ran a transformative campaign, and he's the one who, most distinguishably and most significantly amongst the other candidates, he really has a set of ideas that his supporters really believe in, okay? The other candidates, not so much, right? They adopt a lot of his positions, not the other way around. Bernie sets the bar for a lot of these things, right? Now, it's much harder to trash Medicare for All, so much so that people are now they're making their own spin-offs of Medicare for All, saying Medicare for All who wanted programs, okay? So he set the bar for these positions. Everyone else is playing catch-up, and they're trying to tie him up. They're trying to tie with him, right? So he set the bar. He is the transformative candidate, and that's what he's been. And he has, whether you like it or not, he has completely shifted the Overton window in terms of dialogue, and AOC contributed to this a lot as well. But Bernie has done a lot to shift our conversation on issues like Medicare for All, free college education. Don't forget about how he ended up getting Amazon to raise their wages by trying to basically get through the Stop Bezos Act, if I remember the title of the bill correctly. But this is absolutely true, and this is why Bernie has been so consistent. And in this segment, another host chimes in to basically state that that Bernie has consistent financials, and that's true. Bernie Sanders has been the most consistent candidate in the race on what he's been saying, as well as his polling numbers. That's just what he is, and that's because he represents a movement of progressive ideals, okay? And so that's why Bernie is so consistent. That's why Bernie is polling well, and Bernie's going to have a very strong ground game. And it's going to be tough for these other candidates to beat Bernie Sanders. I think the only candidate who really has a shot to beat him is Joe Biden at this point. So right now, the only hill for him to climb is Joe Biden, but there's really like a floor that Bernie can't drop under, which I feel like is 15 points, essentially, in an aggregate number, to be consistently under 15. I just don't see that happening. Don't see it being possible. So, absolutely, definitely shocking to see this on MSNBC, but I will say I've been seeing more coverage of Bernie Sanders, and I guarantee you Al Sharpton's been influenced by his conversation with Killer Mike, so again, shout out to him, shout out to Mike once again. But yeah, this is getting a bit surprising.